bells ring. Are you listening?
Are you in the Christmas spirit like I am? I cannot wait to begin my holiday. I wanted to leave 2024 with some information about what we can expect in 2025 in terms of dental marketing, and specifically for the second year in a row around this time, record my thoughts on AI and how that's going to influence marketing. I've got my hot cup of coffee again, like I did for this episode last year, as my barometer for when I need to wrap this up. So we're doing coffee together, you and I. And yeah, I've got some thoughts that I had ChatGPT help me whip up here. I thought that was apropos. Recording this episode about AI and marketing to leverage ChatGPT and putting this together. So this is Marketing Chairside. The purpose of the Marketing Chairside podcast has always been to help dental practices attract more new patients. And I'm happy to report that we've had offices with just many times over increase in new patient leads this year, and without having to spend more. We're just getting more and more efficient in our targeting, in our management, and just reducing that cost per lead. Most of the time, our customers are getting an average cost per lead of less than $120, and that's just phenomenal. They're not just bogus leads either. We vet our leads like crazy to make sure that when we report a conversion, it is a legitimate conversion. It is a human being calling the office, sending an email, scheduling an appointment, and they're truly interested in treatment. So with that said, this is an ever-evolving marketplace, an ever-evolving ecosystem marketing, especially for dental offices. And, some things have changed since last year and some really haven't. We're still obviously using websites primarily on our mobile devices. The strategic importance of social media has continued to grow. However, I still would not recommend it as the primary driver of new patient leads for a dental office. And that's something that we'll talk about more in a second here. But, last time we talked about kind of the capabilities of AI, it was really fairly new when I recorded this episode last year, kind of reviewing what to expect in 2024 and wrapping up 2023 with the, what the implications were of ChatGPT and other AI agents is the word that they love, which I think is hilarious if you think about what the Matrix taught us, if anything, is that agents of AI were a bad idea, and here we are. So we just want to continue to have realistic expectations when it comes to social media. My recommendations for the platforms to target really are unchanged with Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We've tested the water more and more, and unless you just have a totally insurance-driven practice, Facebook and TikTok are not likely to generate ideal patient leads for you. However, if you are a network with a lot of major insurances and you can offer some sort of new patient special, that's kind of a different story. You can probably generate some good new patient leads that way. And even ads on those platforms can work. You just have to have the right expectations, because if you're a practice that's like, they better be calling me and looking for a full mouth, or, ready to go on Invisalign, if you really just want to generate cosmetic patients, then I would focus your ads elsewhere. AI tools in terms of content generation, we've been continuing to test the water, and my feeling is it's going to be a garbage in, garbage out type of thing. If you don't have people in charge of your AI agents, your tools that you pay for, then you're not going to get good quality output from these, just like a word processor. You have to have people who understand what garbage AI output looks like, what it sounds like, how it's going to impact your marketing. And so that's like maybe one of the key takeaways of this episode is going to be just don't be afraid to leverage AI, but be careful, because it can certainly cause distance between you and your target audience if your stuff just sounds like everyone else's because everyone else is leveraging AI and no one sounds unique. The most unique, trustworthy, person that connects with people is going to be the one who wins. And so you want to be that person. And so whether it's AI, crayon and paper, miming, whatever the medium is, your focus has to be clarity and connection and showing the prospective patient that you have what they're looking for. The capabilities of AI are only going to grow. Google obviously has continued to invest in building AI, and they've released Gemini 2 at this point. They're talking about these XR Google glasses, which look closer to what we kind of hoped Google Glass was going to be. What was that? I don't know. 15. I don't even know how many years ago that was. And so these look to be even more promising as kind of a truly augmented reality experience. So content generation, again, whether it's via AI or not, is going to be critical to make sure that your practice is found and that you've got helpful information for people in your area that then these AI agents can tap into and say, Tony Bennett Dental is right around the corner, and they say that dental implants don't have to be a scary procedure to get, things like that. I mean, just answering questions in your content is going to be helpful. Yeah, AI is going to put a lot of agencies like ours at a bit of a crossroad. Pro Impressions Marketing, is looking at what does AI mean? What does AI mean for dental offices who want to market themselves? I've definitely had to look in the mirror and say, are we relevant still? Because I don't want to try to sell anyone something that they can do themselves and do really well without needing us. We've really come to the conclusion that we do want to offer some DIY tools and packages so that if people want to try to manage their own social media, we're there to come alongside them and help them with that. Same with SEO. There are some people that feel like they know everything about SEO and all they really need is someone to host their website and make updates for them or something like that. We've got packages to do that. But what we really want to do is be there for the offices that say, I just want to do the dentistry for the love. Can you please make my phone ring? That's really our target customer. That's unchanged from, we've been doing this company's been in existence since 2010, and I've been in the business since early 2000. So I don't really know how else to tell my computer I don't want to be disturbed. So let's see here. Let's try this. So yeah, the DIY tools are out there already. I mean, Canva is an amazing tool set to create basically anything that you can kind of think of with lots of templates. And so, of course, the logical next step has to be, how do you continue to be authentic in 2025 and beyond when you can hit a button and generate almost anything you can think of? The answer is, again, it's the garbage in, garbage out. The masters of content creation in AI are going to be those that know how to truly wield this tool in a way that generates content that continues to feel authentic and is authentic. Again, just because it's written by AI, if you've put information in, the content that AI generates for you will be authentic on the backside. I've done this myself where I've taught a GPT agent to understand what I'm looking for, who I am, what my tone of voice is, what my focus is, and it has created exactly what I'm looking for, to where if I could go back in time and create it myself and take the extra time to do it from scratch, I think I would have arrived at basically the same thing. And the benefit is time savings, and sometimes AI really is just better than a human at understanding different angles of things or different connections that you might not have made, or it would have taken you, again, a lot longer to do it. So you can tell I'm becoming more and more of a fan of these AI tools, not mostly, but I mean, because I really feel like obviously these aren't going anywhere. I mean, I have a friend who says, this is not AI, this is just programming. Well, yeah, potato. I get that we're not talking about true intelligence. We're talking about mega apps that can tap into other apps and really just create power users out of daily users. They're amazing. They're important. And we ignore them at our peril at this point in business and in marketing. So what you need to focus on is using AI in your marketing efficiently and effectively. Your marketing overall, that's the name of the game right now. Is, it should work unless it's just totally mismanaged. It will work to some degree, but what we focus on is making sure that it's as effective as possible, that we're, in everything we do, lowering the cost per lead so that you get more new patient leads for every dollar that you spend, which is kind of like you think so? Yeah. Your visual content, that's still a struggle for AI. The text-based functions of these AI tools are quite remarkable. They do a really good job. They have a vibe to them, if I can put it that way. And that's the thing that I fight the most, is just, I don't need everything formulated with 6 headers and bullet point after bullet point after bullet point. I mean, that's just not, there's a place for those, and definitely you want to use those, but oh my goodness, you need to have some complete thoughts, some connective tissue. And I don't know, it could be just me and my personal preferences and my now sort of middle age. I don't really feel comfortable calling myself that, but I mean, I'm not a youth anymore. And so, I'm just like, slow down. Can we talk about these things some, bullet points maybe aren't enough, but that's where AI can help us see through some of our biases and preferences and that kind of thing. But yeah, visuals. AI, if you're watching this on YouTube, you've been seeing AI generated images and videos that I've generated as I'm testing these things out. I've tried a company called Nvideo.ai. I've tried Sora and ChatGPT for basic, just images. That taps into DALL-E. And there's a bunch out there, and unfortunately, they're all still struggling. AI doesn't have eyeballs. I think that's really the number one thing, is like, I guess they got cameras and we're giving them images all the time, but the things that they generate, it's just weird. How can a bot not review its work and tell that, that person's leg is bending in a really weird way, or my goodness, her eyeball is on her cheek, it's not where it's supposed to be, and I've got eyes staring where lights should be. The most random stuff. The realism is not exactly there depending on what you're creating, and so you try then to go, well, maybe I'll get cute and use animation, and still not quite there. I mean, just again, depending on the scenario that you're feeding it, it can do amazing things visually. But from a marketing standpoint in dental, the options, the applications are limited. And so that will continue to evolve. And maybe in 2025, it'll get there because, at this point, the AI agents are learning from each other. And I mean, maybe because of that garbage in, garbage out philosophy or concept, that's a bad thing. A copy of a copy is not as sharp as the original, but we'll see. But working with your own imagery and asking AI to create blurbs for social media and things, these are all things that are possible. You just have to be cognizant of what you're putting out there, because if it just blends in with everything else and doesn't actually line up with who you are, you could, at the very least, see it be completely ineffective. The very worst, actually cause some friction when patients come in the door. Because if you're not carefully crafting the messages that are created and the posts, and you've got someone else putting the posts up for you that doesn't understand your practice, then yeah, you could end up with some people having some false expectations of what your office is like and who you are and what you do, because these GPTs are being educated about dental offices that are not yours. And so they've got a concept of what these things look like that's just not based in reality, not based on your reality, I'll say. So in terms of social media next year, I would focus on authentic storytelling, making sure that people understand who you are and what you do and why people love you. That's not really new, but because of AI making it seemingly effortless to just pump out content, we're going to see so much generic, weird stuff. And if you look local and you look friendly and you look knowledgeable and you are there, you're getting your message out in front of people, that's going to work. That's going to, in some ways, help you rise above just by putting in almost the same effort as we have been all along, or at least as successful practices have all along. Because there's going to be more noise. And so if you've got a true message that communicates value, then you're going to rise above that noise and be perceived as more trustworthy than the other corporate practices, especially that just feel corporate. They feel impersonal. There's no connection formed. Then all they're going to be worried about contacting a practice like that is, are you the cheapest? And maybe you are, but if you're not, then it's going to cause problems. You're going to be really reliant, though, on promotions and discounts if you don't have that personal, relatable content and you're not leveraging artificial intelligence and good reporting to make sure that your ad targeting, everything is spot on to your area, to your offerings, and clarifying who you are going to be able to help and who you aren't. So let's see here. I think that we are closer and closer to an age where everyone's going to have some sort of a headset on most of the time. And so again, that content is the first line of connection that you're in the future going to have with your community. You can think of your Google business profile as it is content. I mean, there are images in there, but your hours, your offerings, the brands you offer, you want those Google business profiles to be so well managed and populated with fresh content, because there's an algorithm within the algorithm within the algorithm that you have to address. You want to have the best Google business profile out there, and Google is going to tap into that. Apple continues to rely a lot on Bing and Yelp and Dun & Bradstreet for reasons. So profile management has been one of the basic building blocks of search engine optimization for years, and it continues to be that way. A lot of companies have tried to automate that as much as possible, which I appreciate. I mean, there have been so many profiles that are just like business platforms that are just inaccessible to anyone. And so if they just gave us an API that we could tap into and update that automatically, that'd be great. There's not a universal one, though. And so you've got to have a team that understands the ones that matter and are continually updating those, or making sure that they don't need to be updated again, because, oh my gosh, I don't know why these platforms just can't sit still. They're like little children, It's like, I gave you the information, I told you to sit down and watch your thing or eat your food, and yet now you're off in another room doing something else. And in the case of these platforms, it's like, no, I corrected this phone number already, and now you've pulled a phone number from, my last practice a decade ago? Why? But it happens. Or it'll rearrange your name, any number of things. This is an ongoing effort, is making sure that these are correct, but then also tapping into the opportunities that they give us to use them almost like social media. They're kind of business media platforms. And so like with Google, updating those with posts, they're just called updates really, but you can create these little posts. We leverage the social media content we put on them. But here again, it's garbage in, garbage out. The people that you have managing these need to understand that not all of these platforms are the same. And like one of the telltale signs, if you look at your Google business profile and there are updates there that have hashtags on them, hashtags on Google business profile are not a thing. And a lot of times they're missing the buttons that are in these Google updates. You can put a call to action button that says learn more, call now. I mean, like, they're putting it right there to help you connect with patients. And so if your team is just hitting the go button, selecting all the profiles, putting in the content once and hitting go and not going in and setting all these settings individually, it's a waste. It's just not going to work well. So All these tools are fantastic, and it is getting closer and closer to a world where if you only wanted to work part-time doing clinical dentistry and the other part of the time, working on marketing as part of your business management, you could do that if you wanted to. Will you be good at it? I don't know. I mean, it still takes a good marketing mind to understand what makes a good message. I mean, because just an accurate message is not going to be an effective marketing message. People can present dentistry to your patients, but if they don't really know how to sell dentistry, you're going to struggle with case acceptance. And marketing is just an extension of that concept. I need to be able to go beyond just how an implant works and, making sure that you have aftercare instructions to make sure you say yes to treatment. Like, it's just, yes, some people would say yes to treatment that way, but if your content reads just like your next door neighbor dentist's content and just like Wikipedia, you're just rolling the dice that hopefully this patient will kind of plinko down on your site when they're ready to hit go and say yes. No, instead, we want to be everywhere. We want you to be in the maps. We want you to be in the paid search listings. If you, in certain situations, local services ads are a good fit, on social media, we want you to be everywhere. And so doing all that requires a good amount of effort. And it's just something that most dental offices are not going to be up for. When we've talked to DSOs, their marketing departments seem to really struggle with this at times. And it's just something that we're really good at. So I really thank you for listening to this final episode of this season of Marketing Chairside. I hope you've enjoyed the rando slideshow of AI-generated stuff, because some of it's wacky. And I invite you to follow me on YouTube, not me, Pro Impressions Marketing, on YouTube and Instagram. I post multiple marketing tips every single week on there. So if you're not following me there, following Pro Impressions Marketing there, you are missing out on those. So go get that. And again, thanks for listening.